Hi everyone, and welcome. I hope that you can hear me. Um, I've been looking very much forward to welcoming you here today, and I want to thank the Library Leaders Summit uh, for our sponsors today. Library Leaders Summit is a two-day leadership conference for libraries that is connected to computers and libraries, and it's all running in the mid of March next year. And I hope to see a lot of you at the conference or at the Library Leaders Summit. So I want to start with saying that, um, and that the slides will be up for download after the webinar. I'm just going to make a very few uh, short sentences here before we welcome Vivian as the first presenter. But I want to tell you also that we have two more sidebars to the Library Leaders Summit coming up. The next one is on January 23rd with our speaker Amy Affold about critical thinking and AI. And she will be talking about leading AI, new roles for coaching and managing. And you're all very welcome there as well if it's of interest to you. Otherwise, tell people that you know is interested in the subject. It's also a free webinar hosted by Library Leaders Summit. Um, and then we have the last one. We have three, and the last one is on February 8th with MJ Dalla on critical thinking and AI as well. What key skills are essential for leadership and recruitment in 2024? It will be at that time. Um, but today it's sustainability for libraries and beyond, and I'm very, very glad to invite Vivian Puerta Guerra to the stage, and I'll turn off my microphone so you can all enjoy Vivian's presentation. And Vivian, you can start by introducing yourself as well, and then we'll move on to your slides. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan, and I'm very happy to be here, join you in this interesting webinar about libraries and sustainability. Um, my name is Vivian Puerta, as you said. I am the CEO of the EPM Foundation. The EPM Foundation is located in Medellin, Colombia, and we run 17 spaces on this city. One of them is actually the EPM Library, which we are very proud of because this year we won the award Best Green Library of the World in the World Conference that we had in Rotterdam in August. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what are the different activities that we run in the library that make us, worthy of this important award. So first of all, what we do here at the EPM Library is a foundation for sustainable development. It's not just one thing that we work at the EPN library, but we also have, as I already told you, 17 spaces like us, like the Water Museum, we have a Park of Wishes, and we have 13 more spaces around the water reservoirs of our company where we develop educational activities focuses all of them on sustainability. The EPN library is part of this ecosystem of sustainable experiences. And just the EPM receives more than 300,000 people every year. And we receive not just people from early childhood, but also people from all ages, even senior people who goes there because they want to learn digital abilities, and we help them through those challenges that seniors most of the time have. And at the time, a lot of services like health services in our countries are always digitalized. So it's like a great, or more like a very, very necessity that they have to learn about digital skills. So, as I told you, can you please pass the slide? I want to tell you that we at the EPN Foundation and also the EPN Library, we work very closely with UNESCO. That's why we implement the SDGs Reading Club. We have this SDG who actually, as the name says, we promote the 2030 agenda in the kids, in kids between 6 and 12 years old. What we do is like we do it in a very playful and experiential way because they just don't read about the SDGs, so they read stories, but we also make a call to action. So at the end, for instance, when we are working as the SDG 1, which is end of poverty, at the end we have like a ferry with a lot of different activities where we invite the families of those kids to make donations, to understand what is the SDG 1, and it's an event open to all the public. So it's not just that we read books about the SDGs, that we also promote actions, not just for the kids, but also for the families. And it becomes like a party of knowledge regarding the SDGs. Also, we have a very, very interesting strategy that I can show you in the next slide. Okay. My Name is Earth is our prime strategy at the foundation. It's a book, but also you can access to all the contents through our website that you can see there, which is www.meyamotierra.com. There you can find our pedagogical contents regarding climate change and how climate change is affecting the different ecosystems of the planet. These contents are in English and also in Spanish, and it's totally based on storytelling, which is very, very appealing, not just for the kids, also youngsters who find these contents very entertaining. So what we do is through a very, again, playful way to teach the kids what is the importance of taking care of the planet. It's something that people actually recognize that is very makes the strategy very successful. It's like we our main character of the book, as you can see, is the earth. So the earth, and we tell us that the earth has feelings, and the earth is feeling actually sick, and they need the help of the a lot of people, all citizens, to try to make the earth feel well. So I'm going to show a little piece of what is this uh, strategy, or what is My Name is Earth about. And you can see it in the next video. Could you play it, Chan?
I'm afraid that since it's a PDF that it's not able to play here. So maybe if we have a link, we can share it in the chat, and otherwise we can share it afterwards when we share the link. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, because I just have it in video and a minute ago in my presentation.
Okay, but then if you can take over the screen and share it, then I'll take over the screen after you.
At the end. Or do you mean like I can take now?
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
But I think I cannot, only one person can share a screen. So you need
Yeah, I'll
to
stop this.
stop and then I can do it.
Your sound is also a bit dropping, Vivian. Maybe you can, I don't know if you can do anything about it, but.
I'm trying to put high definition, everything. John, you're still presenting. Okay.
See if you can take over.
Yes. Never know.
We have plenty of time. It's okay. There you go. Hopefully yours is not a PDF.
No, 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 it's not.
It's such a lovely video. We want to see the video.
Yes. A minute.
There you go.
Okay. 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 And I'm just gonna try to put it like a presentation mode.
Just play. Take some
Just
time.
give it a minute. Yes.
My name is Earth. I'm playful and merry, and as a planet, I'm extraordinary. I'm heavy and round. I'm big all around. Nature makes my head and feet, and in my belly live all the creatures of the sea. I have a burning heart filled with lava from the start. My arms are a place of rest for forests, jungles, mangroves, animals, plants, and pets. I've been freezing. I've been burning. I've been dusky. I've been scalding. I've changed a lot through the ages. And lately, I feel untimely changes. The truth is, I haven't been feeling so good lately. I wonder why that is. My green forests go up in flames. I wonder why that is. My wetlands and lagoons run out of water. I wonder why that is. My frozen oceans warm up like coal. I wonder why that is. And the ice of my poles melts with the sun. I wonder why that is. Coral reef, my friend. Do you know why that is? And what about you, my friends? Are you with me? I've known how to take care of myself for years, but now I need your eyes and ears.
Well, that's our education strategy, and at the library we have an special lecture room called My Name is Earth, where we, of course, promote these contents in a very innovative way. This is important to know that we created these contents in alliance with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Sustainable Development in our country. So this is actually part of the educational public policy in Colombia. This means that it can actually be implemented in public and private schools all around the country. And as I told you before, you can check all these contents online, but also the Ministry of Education is very interested on print 5,000 books to take to the rural areas of our countries where they have no access to internet, in order to promote this knowledge and this education regarding about climate change. So My Name is Earth so far has reached more than 98,000 people around the world. It's not just in Colombia, but also every time that I have the opportunity, like today, to talk about this, I invite all the people, all the attendees, to check those contents. And if you have any question of if you want to implement those contents in your country, you can reach us, send us an email, and we can actually help you out, telling you how what are the good practices that we have implementing that are successful. And this way, we have been creating an enormous amount of people that learn every day how to take care of our planet. In our library, we also have a robotic club. More than 4,000 children learn STEAM skills, and also this number includes kids with hearing and visual disabilities. So we have almost the 20% of those 4,000 children in a special session, in a special inclusive session of our robotic club. Because, as you can say, we don't want to leave anyone behind, especially when it comes to skills that are very, very needed by our kids right now. Another thing is that we are not just only in the city of Medellin. We understand that there is a lot of towns in our country where you don't have this amazing opportunity to learn books, to go to a reading club or LTG club or a robotic club. So what we do is we have this program, which is called the Traveling Library. Where we actually bring all our educational agenda to these 19 public schools, to our rural areas that have less than 10,000 inhabitants. So this is part of our work trying to contribute to the SDG 10, where we try to close that gap that actually exists between the kids that are living in urban areas and those who has less resources in the rural areas. Also, of course, we besides all these educational activities that we promote, not just in the library, but in the whole ecosystem that we have at the foundation, we also promote clean energy and mitigate the impact of climate change precisely with solar panels. We have more than 450 solar panels where we can meet the 39% of the library's energy requirements. This is for us very important because it's not like we are just telling people how to live in a more sustainable way, but we actually implement a lot of actions to mitigate the effects of climate change. Also, we have changed a lot of the regular lights that we used to have in our infrastructure. So we changes for LED lights. And this way we have reduced energy consumption by 33%. So this is an important step that we have taken forward because we are working in another pilots in not just in the foundation but also in our library regarding changing more lights for LED lights. We also recycle the 12% of our waste into a different activities. We have a solid waste management plant, which of course have a circular economy component. So what we want is, as you know, we try to make the most, not just with the resources that we have, but also with the waste that we generate during our activities. With the all the different groups of people that we actually work with, we promote ecological awareness among all of our users. As I told you, that they come from ages like early childhood until seniors, because what we want is like they are more conscious about the habits and the conducts that they can actually and how they can actually contribute to a more sustainable future. And finally, we strongly believe in the importance of the role of public and private libraries in actively contributing to a more sustainable world. We are convinced that the importance of education, so it's not just to have those beautiful books in our shelves, but also how we use those infrastructure that we have available to the citizens in general, and take the most of it. And take the most is actually making a lot of call of action to people, so they become more conscious about the impact of their actions regarding how to take care of the planet. So, Georgian, I think with this, I finished my presentation. And I don't know if you would like to have the questions now. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so they can take again the floor. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very well done, Vivian. Are you taking the screen back? You're still muted.
It's slow. So when I press unmute and it's not working, I press unmute again, and then I mute back again.
Okay.
I will take the screen and I'll take the floor. Once again, thank you, Vivian. It was great. I really enjoyed your presentation. I think that we'll go on with Eric, and then I have just a few minutes, and then we'll invite people in for questions and discussion at that point. So I'm just trying to load this. It should be up in just a few seconds. But it was great to see, and it was there's some of the things that you've been talking about. That's how people are learning, and the call to action as well is something that that I will share a little bit about in how people are inspired to go from just learning the facts to having a real impact. But let's see here. I think I need to run through the slides. And while I do that, I will say that the next speaker is Eric. I'll try to not click too fast because it's a little bit slow responding. So we should not skip through half of Eric's slides. I was very glad that you I got the video on, Vivian. It was beautiful, and also thank you for saying that people are welcome to contact you for that you will be sharing your best practice, and also thank you for saying the philosophy behind the SDGs, that you're working with leaving no one behind. That's important, and it's also a beautiful statement. And now I will turn off my mic and hand over to you, Eric.
Excellent, I was going to say. And I also want to say, the people who are in this session, you can also put your questions in the chat. Maybe then we can look at it later on. If you just, well, you don't know if you're going to forget the question or whatever. If you have any comments or notes, put them in the chat. You know, we had a bit of a sound trouble in the beginning, but it sometimes is what it is. You know, these technologies don't always work the way we want them to work. But I think it was very well understandable. And Vivian, I could follow the story, but it was a bit of a hitch up. I hope my sound is fine. And let's do it. Eric Boekestein from the National Library of the Netherlands. I met Vivian at the IFLA conference, indeed, in Rotterdam, and was already inspired at the first meeting. And I'm very happy that you're back here and to do this, Vivian. Jan is an old friend. We've gone a long way, and we are very happy to be able to do as much as we can to bring good to the planet and to get libraries involved in helping out and making a statement and making ourselves heard. Go to the next slide, Jan. There you go. We already seen that people in the world have a different way of responding to what's going on the planet. There's conferences trying to make an end to the use of fossil oil and all that sort of thing that are not going maybe the way they should be going. There's people trying to look at it with interest, with despair, with fear, whatever it is. But those people come to our places. Those people come to our libraries. Those people come to us, and they sometimes have questions that we somehow need to address. Next slide, Jan. In the Netherlands, we work with UNICEF, as Vivian was also saying, and we had a survey that says that 44% of our young people are deeply worried about climate change, which is in the Netherlands, realizing that we are like quite a 6 feet below sea level where I live. So that's indeed a serious worry. Most of the country is under the sea level, so already. So imagine when it rises to meters, then we are in deep trouble. Worries about wars, conflicts, poverty, inequality. These are the questions that I hear librarians at the front desk are dealing with, and we have to find a way to, like I said, to be ready for those questions and to help those people, give them the feeling that they can actually do something about it and not only have to face it. Next slide, Jan. Jan and I are working with Michael Edson. Michael is a good friend who used to work at the Smithsonian in Washington and then was asked by Ban Ki-moon to start up the initiative for the United Nations Live Museum of around the work of United Nations. And when he left there, he decided that he wanted to work on the same thing we were working on helping libraries and museums to do more about the issues that are really mattering in the world. And he started up the idea of 23 climate things together with Jan and I to help libraries and organizations to motivate staff, because like usually when we are in our institutions, we have ideas, but we always run against the big freaking wall, as Mike calls it. And sometimes we discuss things and we find a position just in front of that wall and make ourselves a little too comfortable. We put up some plans, put up some wallpaper, and we still sitting in front of that wall and we do not go over the wall. So how do you get over the wall is a question that is really on my mind almost every day. Like I said, when you're tired or whatever, you just try to settle down, but you have to go some places. Here's the website for the climate things. I urge you to take a look and to see what's out there. It's starting up. We're in the beginning of this. We have quite a few followers from around the planet. Mike is in this position now. He took on a job in India, Mumbai, and he's starting a museum of solutions. And he also decided, after talking, that it would be very nice to also have a library of solutions. So he's also, he just sent me a text message today that he's hiring librarians to help him start up the library of solutions. They have the building, they are decorating the building, but they need people to set it up. And to, at one point, they will give up most of the management of the building to young people to run programs and to do whatever is needed. So have a look at the site. And as I said, the 23 climate things will come to life. And we need examples from around the planet. I'm sure Vivian's examples are, if she allows us to, are very useful to use. So on to the next slide, Jan. I'm talking way too much, sorry. This is a slide that doesn't show it. It should be showing. I think it's a Philip slides. Can you move to the next slide, Jan? Maybe it fills it in later on. Yeah. This is from the UK. The other slide was not completely correct, but that's the way it is with a PDF. they're doing amazing stuff. Nick Poole and Silip and his team are doing amazing stuff in the UK, setting up the Green Library Manifesto, but also encouraging libraries to do more, like discover and harness the existing environmental work going on in libraries, make a sort of a survey, build and support and remind to understanding and action within libraries and their work with communities, positioning libraries at the heart of local environmental programs, including those led by local authorities. This is really an example to me. I go back there regularly to see what they're doing, what they're up to, and what's happening at their conferences. And if there's online presentations, I recommend you to follow up on those presentations. Next slide, John. This is the Green Library Manifesto that they made. There are quite a few Green Library Manifestos, I think, around the planet. Look at their website, Silip, and go to Green Libraries Manifestos. I could talk hours on this, but it's something that you need to look at that yourself. And you're going to get the slides if you want them afterwards. So I'm not going to read them out to you. Have a look at them and consider, if you don't have such a manifesto in your own country, who to get involved with to make a manifesto like this, because it's really helpful. Next slide. Thank you for posting the link to the Silip page. That's great. Some examples from the Netherlands, like Vivian has such great examples, I couldn't stay behind. This is the Lokhal Library in Tilburg, nominated for Best Library of the World at the IFLA conference. Amazing place. They the first time they opened, they were already doing stuff with like food, like insects that you could eat, grasshoppers and all that sort of thing, alternatives for meat and different things. They have an extensive use program. They have a balcony full of plants and educational material for kids. Check out the website, Lokhal. This is an initiative where they gather plastics and they recycle the plastics, and they have an organization turning them into these huge chandeliers that are gorgeous. They are in the building and they are really big. They're like very, very big, but they're always LED lights, and they look amazing. And it's just a way of showing people that from recycled material, beautiful things can be built. Next slide, Jan. Another example is books on recipe. So you have like these doctors walking around the libraries, and they address your mood. So if you are indeed a worried kid or a young person or an old person, whatever, and you come to the library, and they will come up to you and say, what sort of mood are you in? Maybe I can recommend you a book to make you feel better. And but the basic aim is, of course, to start a conversation. Like, you're listening to the news. What's the news doing to you? What sort of things are you worrying about? And the end result may be a book, or it may be just a good conversation. I really like this one. It's really working, what I hear. Next slide, Jan. There should be a next slide, John. There it is. As I mentioned earlier, this is not in the Lokhal. It's the Meta Library in the Netherlands, where they grow mushrooms or different sort of, and then the kids come back like almost every day or every 3 days, looking at their mushrooms if they're grown, and what is happening to my mushrooms today? Can we harvest them already? Can we eat them? What are the recipes? So it's really another way of interesting, making food interesting, alternatives for meat and different things. Next slide, Jan. This one is very important. This is it's in Dutch. It says it's a sort of cafe, they call it, but it's a sort of a conversation moment on inequality, reducing inequality on the world, because Jan and I went to the Next Library conference in Aarhus, which is amazing. But we heard the keynote speakers say, like, the first thing we may need to address is inequality in the world, because, well, basically, if you don't have any money to feed your kids or to bring them to school or whatever, you're not worried as much about climate change, maybe, because you have other worries on your mind. So basically, if we do something about inequality, the rest of the SDGs will be much easier to tackle. So I think there's definitely a good reason to make this one a very important one. And I already see when I frequently get strategy plans for libraries on my desk to look at, to review, and to make comments upon. And more libraries that I see are focusing within the SDGs on like climate, education, but also very much on inequality, reducing inequality. And I think they're right. That is definitely a good way to help the world to be a better place. Next slide, Jan. I don't know how many slides there are. This is my good friend Jean Tan, of course. Jean from Singapore. Jean is amazing. Jean, I was talking to Jean when he left the libraries for a bit, a couple of years, and I'm so happy that he's back. And a couple of years ago, we had a discussion when he came back to libraries, and he said, "Eric, I have a vision of libraries being a theater of issues. So all the things that are having an effect on people's lives, we should bring them to the library, we should visualize them." And he was talking, and that really made an impression on me. Like, he saw the library as a choreography of solutions. How beautiful is that? I mean, you can have the library and the people in a peer-to-peer basis discuss with each other possible solutions and how they could work. So Jean Tan, Singapore, is definitely a person to follow. Next slide, Jan. The AI parade. Yeah, I wanted to show a little about the AI, but I have to look at time because we want to have some discussion at the end. AI parade is an example, a different example than SDGs at first, but we started to get the citizens in the Netherlands more aware of the effects of artificial intelligence by doing a parade across the Netherlands, visiting 70 libraries in 1 year, with the aim to reach 1 million people and to make them, like I said, more aware of, will it be good for me? Will it be a threat? Will I lose my job? What if I lose my job? What will happen then? If I don't lose my job, will it change? All that sort of questions were given in an exhibition and also in a sort of programming with speakers. And within, I think, 3/4 of a year, we released 1.5 million people. So for me, that was a good example. Like, what if we could do something in the Netherlands, but maybe on a European or on a global scale, and design our own SDG parades and basically have a sort of a traveling exhibition coming along with great speakers, informing people of what they can do to create a better world locally at their own place where they live. Next slide, Jan.
So something happened to Eric's connection, I'm afraid. It was not me who kicked Eric off the air, but I think that we will move on, and then I will ask Eric if there was something very important that we did skip, because we definitely want time to bring you in as well. So I'll skip through some of the slides, and you can see that Vivian's project is also on Eric's slides, so I actually had seen the video before. Just a few words from me before we'll turn the floor over to you. And it's about, it's also about Eric, you're back. I'm sorry, I skipped through the rest of your slides. I didn't know how long you would be gone. I hope that was okay.
I was dropped out. I don't know what happened, but I'm back.
You're back. Do you want me to skip back to your slides?
No. Wait, we need
okay.
the time.
We need the time. I agree. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about just a tiny little bit and just a few minutes here is the way that we're working with the climatethings.org that Eric presented. I'm part of the project as well with Eric and Michael Peter Edson and Julia Matamoros from Mexico. And what we're trying to do is a project that's a little bit built on 23 things and 23 mobile things. And what we have been trying to figure out is how to do what Vivian is doing, how to make the call for action, because what we know is that that we need to hack learning, and we need to do that because knowledge will not make people change their behavior, and we need people to change their behavior. So there's a little quote here: tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, and involve me and I'll learn. And that's what I saw in Vivian's project as well. The involvement is very important. And we have been talking to a lot of different experts, and the text is very small here, but you'll get the links. But it's just this Professor Søren Harnaug from Denmark is a professor of philosophy and has been working. How do we make people change their behavior in an ethical way? So we will reach our goals for the planet. Just to quote one of them, otherwise you can see it afterwards, but it's saying mere knowledge, positive attitudes towards environment issues don't necessarily translate into behavioral change. The challenge lies in bridging the gap between knowledge and action. So again, something also says really is driving this is if we have politicians that actually do something. Now we have the COP28. It's been discussed how much of a success this is, but it is a way where people actually change behavior. If something is put to law, we don't have the power to do that, but just to say it's one of the things. Another thing is to do as Vivian is doing, and make some tasks connected to the way that people are learning. We have to bridge the gap between information and learning and knowledge, and the action needs to impact on the environment and also on issues, inequality, like Eric mentioned. So we have to make some real tasks part of the climate things that we're working on. And then the last thing that I'll say is that when we talk to people who have been doing online learning for a very long time, we all highlight that the community around the learning is very, very important. So even if it's an online learning program, you need to be able to reach the experts, reach the peers that are learning with you, and also have some sort of online community where you inspire and hold the other attendants up to what they're saying that they will do. Some of the things that will be part of the 23 climate things talk. And next slide, Jan. It was the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm not going to dive much into them. You can find the slides on this link. I'll put it in the chat as well. But you can find them there for reference. But now we want to invite you in as well. Any questions for Vivian or Eric, or maybe a question for me? You're very welcome to drop them in the chat, and you're also welcome to have the mic. I'm not sure if there's someone here from the libraries in New Hampshire, because they're doing a project around the Sustainable Development Goals, where they will be presenting one of the world goals at their libraries, and they will have like this traveling exhibition and some speakers attached to it. So if I know that it's been up on the website for libraries in New Hampshire for professional development. So if any one of you is here, I would be happy to hear what have planned so far and what you have learned so far. So you're welcome to.
Awesome, great examples.
And then for those that would like to unmute and speak, raise your hand. I think it's the reaction button. There should be a little hand raise. Otherwise, post in the chat that you would like to have the microphone, and we can assign you a microphone so you can speak on the stage.
it's always the hardest part to be the first one. Usually, usually I say to people that if someone is not asking a question or doing something like that, I will sing to people in Danish. I'm not sure that it will be working very well when people can just press the log off button. It's better when you have people in a physical room.
You can do a Michael. What is a shirt of Mick Flannery? You can do some Mick Flannery's, John. I have a question. I have a question for Vivian and you. Let's start like this. Let me start the first question.
I knew you were gonna do something like that.
I was thinking like there's always a lot of discussion going on in libraries about should we be neutral? Has this to do with neutrality? If we want to inspire young people to help to create a better environment, maybe save the world, I don't know. Are we being neutral or are we taking sides? And what if we change the discussion on neutrality to having a moral ambition or a moral compass? Should libraries, my question would be in that light, should libraries have a moral ambition or a moral compass? And if they are, how are we going to make that into a narrative? 2 questions.
You go first, Vivian. You go first if you want to.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about moral, I think it's a very, very difficult concept, because it's abstract, and some people understand in one way, people in different way, and it depends of the culture, on also the educational level, etc. So what I think what we do, or we're trying to do, is to start about teaching people in general, the citizens in general, about to be a citizen of the world. What it means to be a citizen of the world. We are all living in the same planet. No matter if we are in a different part of the world. And in one part eventually will impact other parts of the world. I mean, we just live it very dramatically with the pandemic. I mean, it changed everything, everybody's life, even to death, including the lot of people who actually pass away during that time. So I think understand that you are part of one planet and what you do have consequences is a different conversation. I was invited to talk in a seminar, international seminar about climate change education, and it's like a big, a lot of work about how the kids and the youngsters has a lot of environmental anxiety, because the more they know about what is going on the planet, they feel like they have to do something, and sometimes to change the situation is not on their hands. And some people just say, oh, why am I going to do something if not in China or US or blah, 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 or this country that the ones who are doing the wars, blah, blah, blah. Or if you try to reach a more hopeful and trying to promote and inspire, you're like, you should take your part, you should do your part. In our case, at the foundation in general, we take like a very hopeful approach of this situation. And when Jan was asking at the beginning for activities that are a call to action, I was thinking, yeah, that's important to actually start with early childhood. That's why My Name is Earth is important. When I had a picture in my presentation. You go with this big character to a school with 400 kids, and they can actually see the planet. You have no idea what is the impact of them. They are just go and hug the planet one time. Kids just go again and make the person, the character, to go to down, because all of that was so exciting about seeing it, and they are starting to care. They are starting to care and to say we should do something. And when we do is like in our book, My Name is Earth, that actually already shared the link in the chat, is full of little challenges just that you can do with the kids or 5 years old. And we have 2 books, not just for early childhood, but also for elementary school. And in elementary, of course, are more deep information, and we study the different ecosystems, and we talk about what is going on the ocean, etc., etc. So I think, and just to finish, we have to start educating. That's why we are so focused on education for sustainable development. There is no transformation if there is no education. You need to educate to transform. That's it.
I have to
Thank you.
I have to unmute. Sorry, Vivian. I just want to quickly respond, like what you were saying, like, and I totally see. I have it in my back, the little knitted earth character as a sort of a lucky charm. But anyway, I see what we see in the Netherlands now. We have a Ministry of the Future. It's a group of people. It's quite a large group of people already. And every meeting that they have, they bring like these little baby shoes and they put them on the table. So you see lots of baby shoes, and it's only a visualization. Like what we are talking about here is having an effect on the people who are going to fill these shoes in the future. And only by putting them on the table is such another dimension to the discussion. It's such a it changes the atmosphere. And like you say, a character like that you can hug, and the feeling that the earth is a person, is something you care for, is so strong. I really think those examples are very important. I will shut up. Sorry, Jan.
No, it's fine. But some questions have come in the chat and in the Q&A. So I think that we should have a look at them, and then I'll try to answer your your question, Eric, and my closing remarks if we have the time for that. But there's a question from Anna. Are any libraries helping bridge the gap between people and their politicians or decision makers? And if so, how? Is it letter writing, hosting citizens assemblies? To press for climate action. I have a short answer for that one, and then if you also have it will be fine. It's not for it's not for climate action in that way, but I know that at the Doggen Library in Aarhus in Denmark. One of the politicians that's in charge of that area, he has monthly town halls held at the library where people can go and have a chat with him. I think that's a beautiful statement for democracy to do it like that. And Doggen, like a lot of other Danish libraries, almost all Danish libraries, are working actively with supporting the sustainable development goals. So that's an example of trying to bridge the gap, but not necessarily only for climate action. I don't know if you, Eric or Vivian, have something to say about that or an example. Otherwise, I'll move to the chat.
Well, we'll look at the time, but I would like to say, I think politicians are more aware than I can remember for a long time of the outreach that libraries have to citizens, and basically, they are sort of more and more using that for the good. To basically reach out, and they like citizens to be engaged. They like citizens to know about what's going on when it comes to technology, with the AI parade that I was mentioning, or with things as inequality and discussions that are going on in society. Libraries are still regarded, Jan, by most people, like 90%, as safe spaces that are very inclusive and open to well, everyone. They should be open to everyone. So those trusted places, if we treat each other with respect, and we can disagree, but we can still be respectful. And as Vivian says, it's so early to start that sort of learning in a very young age. Like I can disagree with you, but we are still friends, and that's so important to have those qualities and to teach those qualities in public spaces outside of schools, such as libraries are. So yeah, there are that. I think basically this will be not a big problem. We can do this.
And it's also a comment to the next question that's in the chat, I think, because that is, do you think there's a contradiction of public libraries being used as warm spaces, especially in the UK, but at the same time asked to reduce energy use to be better for the environment? And then there's a comment saying that it's a very interesting question. I agree, and that Glasgow Women's Library could be one example of a space achieving both. They're offering warm welcomes, including the legendary cups of tea, but also greening their building fabric. And then there's a link. Thank you for that, Kirsten. I will also say that it's thinking of what Eric also said about inequality and working with solving that and looking at the Sustainable Development Goals. It's one of the things that's also important for libraries to be a part of. Of course, it can be contradictory when you think about energy and the environment. But I think that one point about the Sustainable Development Goals is that they're interconnected, and we need to have focus on all of them. I would urge libraries to continue being warm spaces for homeless people and people who need that kind of services as well. So that was my answer to that question. Anyone wants to join in? Vivian, you.
Yeah, I would like to say our libraries has the opportunity to have clean energy. So then you don't have a contradiction. You use clean energy and you also helping people who need you. It should be another place, a safe space for everyone. I saw also, Eric, there is a question for you in the chat. It says, on the slide with the Da Vinci drawing, what was the name of the person Eric mentioned? Can you put the spelling in the chat box?
I put in the name, Jean Tan. It's there.
Yeah.
There's another
Tan.
question here.
Yeah.
There's another question here. Local authorities which run or oversee UK public libraries are not famous for moving at pace. Any tips on how to move things forward fast enough to ensure impact happens when it can still make a difference? Oh, that's a good one and a hard one. I think that we all places, even though a lot of things are going on in Vivian's area and in the Netherlands and in Scandinavia as well, are not moving fast enough. So it's and sometimes it's also, you can connect it to Eric's question about neutrality. How can libraries push that? I think that another thing from how can we solve this is that all people, politicians, citizens, firms, private firms, we all need to do something. So I think it is just trying to push also local authorities as far as we can, but how to make them move faster? I think that it needs to be a very, very loud voice from the public to get their attention. And then in some countries we also have people working against it because they're working for special interest from big firms that are driving another agenda, unfortunately.
But very quickly, because we have like 1 minute, but
yes,
it raised the question of the warm spaces. I think in the Netherlands the government spent millions and millions of euros on helping people who couldn't afford the electricity bills anymore by giving them extra money. And I think if people can come to these public domain spaces where they can be together and use the warmth of that places together by and using less energy or paying less money, it saves the government a lot of money. And saving money is something that's very persuasive on most governments. So that could definitely help our narrative to use our public spaces for people to live their lives better and cheaper, not as expensive. So, but we have to wound up, I think.
I think I have to. The one last thing in the chat is that maybe it's a good strategy to practice what you preach and make your own buildings and organizations as sustainable as possible and set an example, like Vivian presented. They're also doing that in a lot of Danish libraries. I think that's always good to to put your money where your mouth is. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your participation. Thank you, Vivian. It was wonderful. Thank you, Eric, for your presentation. Thank you for making all of us wiser. And thank you to all the participants. Once again, I will thank the Library Leaders Summit for making this possible. There's a link to the slides, and I hope that you will like to join in both in Arlington, Virginia, in March, but also at the next free webinar that we're hosting here. Thank you, everyone. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you, Jan, for having me. Eric, thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. See you soon.